Hello, welcome to Family Life Chat. I have a beautiful couple here with me this beautiful evening. Before I introduce them, let me just say this. Now, we know that there's a lot out there about, marriage, those in support, those that are against, and, a lot of challenges around the values that surround marriage. Some people feel that, people come on social media and, they are living fake lives on social media, and there is no real and there is no truly happy marriage anymore. But let me say this, and like you get to hear from, our guests in the course of today's session, there are happy marriages everywhere. There are marriages that work. Your marriage can work. Your future marriage can be the marriage of your dreams. I have with me a beautiful couple today, Mr. and Mrs. Molehins. They're a wonderful couple. They've been married for over 10 years. They have successful businesses, careers, wonderful children. And we'll be asking some of the questions that some of you have had, in your heart for a while now. Welcome to the Family Life Chat. It's good to have you, Mr. and Mrs. Molehins. I know that we just started shooting, but we've had some interesting conversations. So let's get right into it. In over 10 years of marriage, I'm right? You've been married for over 10 years. What would you say are the two most important lessons you've learned in 10 years of marriage?
I would say we've learned quite a lot. To narrow it to two would be tough. But I would, say what we joke about most of the time is that teamwork makes the dream work.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. It's one of those punchy lines.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, we believe that strongly, that if we align in terms of vision, values, plans, goals, objectives, oftentimes we are able to reach destinations that are better for both of us and for the family as a whole. So we're not competing, we're collaborating. All right, we've since year one in marriage, we've always had that perspective that we are in this together, irrespective of what we're confronting, whether it is as mundane as house rent or is as complicated as building a house. Right? It's teamwork, right? Makes the dream work. Yeah, that's.
But before you get to that alignment, are there times when you have a different opinion from your wife? And at such times, how were you able to harmonize? How were you able to practically say, okay, so we're going to go in this direction? Because I know that's something that can, be a challenge for a number of people.
Yeah. So it goes back to the fact that my way is not always right. Right? There's that agreement. There's that understanding that I can be wrong. I
That's
as
profound.
the head of the house, but from scripture, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I am accurate every time. Right? So from my own perspective, I am open to other views, superior views. And I must say, 10 years, I've heard many superior views.
Wow.
There have been times when I wanted a certain direction, and she explained why an alternative was better. And it turns out that the alternative was better. Right? So it's that willingness to hear the other person. It's the willingness to listen. It's the willingness to be open to correction. Right? Because I know there are many things I've learned, even in marriage. I could very quickly share one.
Please do.
It took me many years to learn how to say please and thank you.
Wow.
Right. So if I wanted the remote control, I'll say, give me the remote control. If I wanted food, give me food. Whatever I wanted was me. It was more command in nature. Maybe not of my fault, if I would say, because my dad was a soldier. So you had to bring that item or the other item. It was a command, and you obeyed like a soldier in the in the camp, right? So she corrected me. She kept telling me nicely, politely, and until I eventually got it. And so if I need this pillow, I would say, please. Sometimes I still make the mistake. I still say, give me the pillow. Then she'll pause and wait, and then I'll say, please.
Now you got it.
Yeah, but the point essentially that I'm making is teamwork really makes the dream work. But for there to be teamwork, we have to agree to the fact that my way is not always right and your way is not always right. Interestingly, as we're driving here, we're having a conversation where we're going to go for vacation. And I said this and she said that. And I'm like, why do you want to go that far? So it's a conversation. This conversation will have it probably till the end of the year.
Let me guess, your own option was the simpler, more straightforward one.
Yeah, not complex.
Not complex.
And that's why the fun one.
Yeah, sure. But at the end of the day, it's a case of, I can bring my views, you can bring your views, we can discuss them responsibly, not from a place of I am in charge and you are subordinate. We are partners, we are collaborating, and the better outcome is what we will go for, right?
That's profound, really. That's profound.
I think I'd just like to add another thing that I've learned in over 10 years of patience, right? So having to deal with my husband, naturally, I think he's even a calm, gentle person, right? But then there's still, no one is perfect. I'm also not perfect. And there have been situations where just understanding patience and knowing how to use patience, has really helped a lot in 10 years. There's so many situations, scenarios that I'll find myself or you would find yourself, and patience will just be what will be the difference. There's some times where some things might unnaturally should be like a heated conversation, but just patience and knowing that you would find the right time to discuss this. What's the goal? The goal is to address this, but then is this the right time? Right? So I feel like for me, I've learned patience, over 10 years, and that's one thing that I'd just like to highlight.
That's profound. From what the both of you have said, what I see is the fact that you're willing to change, you're willing to make adjustments. You don't feel like just take me the way as I am. You're willing to blend. You're willing to make adjustments to your partner. And I think that's a big deal. So patience, and then understanding that even though I'm the head of the home, I am not always right, and so I'm willing to listen, willing to hear my wife's opinion, and then we align. And like you said, teamwork makes the dream work. I think that's a nice catchphrase. I like that. Now, I would like to ask this, and maybe this is peculiar to the fact that we're in Lagos, Nigeria. How are you able to successfully balance your career, your business? I know you're a career person. I know you have a business or you have businesses. Living in Lagos, being a Nigerian, having kids and all of that. How are you able to maintain that balance? Because there are people that honestly feel that you can't have it all across the board. It's either if you want your career to work, then just focus on that, and marriage can be demanding. Sometimes even people give up their career. Now, I don't feel like there's anything wrong in quitting your job if there's a need to do that, maybe during the phase you are as a couple. But some people literally just give up on that just because they feel, okay, let me just focus on my family. But from what I see, you're able to maintain a balance across board. How are you able to do that?
Well, I think the journey to balance is something you must think about long term, so that sometime in the future you'll be able to strike what seems like a balance. Very early from when we got married, I think we realized that the family will trump any other decisions we need to make. We would prioritize family over money. So for example, I recall early in my career where I used to work, I always, at the beginning of the year, you had the opportunity to indicate whether you are interested in traveling.
I see.
That's very good for your career.
Yeah.
You go outside Nigeria, explore exposure. But I always take note that I was not interested in traveling because at that time, I just got married and the family at that time was important for me to be around. Right?
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah. So it was an easy decision because from the very beginning there were values that were clearly defined. And so you take such a decision from a place of ease, not from a place of it's because of you now I did not travel. Do you understand? It's because of you now that I cannot. Do you understand? It's from a place
And
of
from a reaction, you probably didn't know this.
In fact, I thought maybe you did.
Interesting.
but in fact, I started taking no the year before we got married. All right. So that even when we got married, it remained the same. All right. I know I traveled once in the organization, but it was out in same day. All right, Ghana. So I think the conversation around balance is a long-term perspective that must be maintained. All right. And from the get-go, you must have certain values. Money cannot trump your marriage, except, of course, you really don't understand the essence of marriage. Yes, I want to achieve, I want to achieve great things. You want to achieve great things. But money can't always be the driving force. There was a time she had the option as well to move to the north. I think when you were working in a consulting firm, when they wanted her to move to the north, it was an easy decision for her. She said she couldn't move, the company insisted she resigned.
Interesting.
All right. So I think if people make decisions from a place of values, what do we really value? I think it helps you to be in a place of rest, and then that balance you're trying to achieve will be, at least to some extent possible. If you desire money more than anything else, you are money at all costs. I must make this money. We must touch this green notes by all costs. At all, you take decisions that will jeopardize. You probably will take decisions that will jeopardize your family. But I think to tie it together, for us at the very beginning, we always clearly knew that we wouldn't take any decision that will put the family or the marriage in a position of stress. To the point where we even said at the beginning of the marriage that we won't have family members come live with us. Right? It was just a joint family policy at that early stage where the money coming in was not so much. You could probably only take care of two people. To add maybe my cousin or her cousin or brother or someone could immediately disrupt the tender balance or the tender peace, all right, that you have at that particular point in time. It's a tough decision to take because you might look bad to somebody else, but I would rather look good to my wife than I look good to other people. All right, so it's from that place of understanding, from that place of thinking, this is why we're taking that decision, this is why we're taking that stand, and we progress gradually. We didn't have a child until we felt we were financially okay to have a child. All right, I recall, right? He said for the first 1 year or so, we won't have a child. He didn't reach 1 year. And there was a reason because I got promoted in a place of work, so that meant more cash flow, all right, and then you got a job, and that more cash flow meant Pampers and diapers and the things of that nature we could afford, and so we reviewed that decision. And so I think achieving balance is maybe it's not really balance, but at least a level of stability, minimizing tension, requires clarity, of purpose in the long term, and making decisions that doesn't, subject that delicate balance to, doesn't put pressure on that delicate balance that you have. So for us, we're very ambitious and aspirational. My career, very ambitious, very aspirational. I set big goals. I go after them. Same thing for her. But our family, it's for when it comes to our kids, we don't play, we don't experiment with that. Right? I've read several books on parenting. Even before we had kids, so that we're not experimenting with our kids, maybe the way the other generation experimented with us. All right. So I think in that area, kids parenting, we take it very seriously. And I remember some of the things we discussed was in future, if we're going to have some level of freedom, presence with the kids, to be good if I'm in career, you're in business, right? Because there will be times as a career person where I cannot get out of that structure.
Yeah.
But for an entrepreneur, because you're more flexible, you probably can resume whenever you want, close whenever you want. That would also enable you to be present when I can't be present. All right. And when it gets intense for you, maybe I could take leave. And so I think it takes some thought, it takes some planning, it takes deliberate decision. It also takes willingness to, not necessarily do what everybody's doing so that you can achieve ultimately what you want to achieve.
That's true. That's interesting. So I'm going to ask a question that is not in the script. Money.
I trust it was worth your while. Thank you for being a part of this session of the Family Life Chat. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, like. If you're watching on any of our Facebook or Instagram social media channels, feel free to like and to share. We'd like to hear from you. What questions would you like us to ask these couples? What challenges are you facing in your marriage? If you could get 5 minutes with a professional family life practitioner like I am, or any other practitioner, what would you like to ask? Send us your questions, send us your comments. Our details are on the screen.